Welcome everyone to more open source live code here with our Linux distribution and RISC-V and stuff. Today, strace. A year ago we noticed that strace has a RISC-V port, but only to the more popular mainstream 64-bit flavor. If you run that on FPGA or other small microprocessor, microcontroller, RISC-V, you don't have strace right now. We have, of course, NT2. So someone, I think, from Western Digital had that ported like over a year ago, but somehow that's not upstream, and it's still not upstream. So after rediffing this patch a couple of times, so yeah, 21, yeah, soon 1 year, amazing stuff. So yeah, nearly soon 1 year later, RISC-V in strace, RISCV32. Yesterday, off video, so I don't live stream all random garbage here. Yesterday, after the live streams and stuff, I actually rediffed, updated that, and rediffed that, even cleaned this up a little bit. And while cleaning this up, the issue is because some stuff always changes a little bit. Recurring theme, open source stuff, yeah. The only constant is change, and so they constantly change something. And this is why this patch doesn't apply. Also, this patch includes autoconf stuff, so we anyway need to. This autoconf stuff never applies because too much random auto-generated stuff. Long story short, I improved this already, including I noticed some arch defines here were not probably moved from the Western Digital folks. And so it probably works, at least it builds for RISC-64. And this is also the stuff, right? Testing, more testing. So after a year, I spent like probably easily 3 hours on just forward porting and rebasing this stuff. And that's not even all, right? So probably I should leave in the comments below and share, like, and subscribe, and Patreon and membership and all the good stuff. Because I think I should probably spend a couple of more hours and get this stuff upstream proper, because not only am I tired of rediffing this like a dozen soon, nearly half a dozen times, but this obviously should be upstream. So what I quickly wanted to do, I noticed yesterday that it also has some new files that, or at least stuff that did not, the Western Digital patch did not move. Where it's here. So, and also, if you want to, we probably also should unpack that, right, the unmatched RISC-V stuff, and actually test that. And so this is like live code, like more code, also, yeah, C, right, not this shabby shell scripting stuff that we find ourselves usually doing here. And so what I mean here is, actually I wanted to do something slightly different, but what I mean is that this is strace. This is with our patches applied, so that is here, of course, and RISC. And so the thing is, we are left here with at least one more PR status rec set. Let's delete that. And what did I even delete? Somehow nothing. So those files, the question is, what exactly does it do? Copyright 2021. So maybe this file is newer, decode PR status rec set. I don't even, also, yeah, readability, not size, and that is hard at the border of. So the problem with that code of line, also, yeah, recurring theme, I open code, it's like, yeah, not amazing. The problem is with this, you need to, the question is, does the compiler warn? Because you need to know the C operator precedence in very detail, and the C, no surprise, the C operator priority, C operator precedence is crazy, not recommended. The problem is because I think also, yeah, this is so crazy that AND and XOR and OR and stuff, that they have all a different precedence. I think they should have all the same, because the problem with that is you constantly, the reason they've probably done that in the 70s or so is because it probably matched their code style of coding their first C stuff the most or something. Or it often the stuff is also by pure accident, right? Maybe it was just an accident, maybe it was just the implementation and they never bothered. But so the problem is nobody remembers this stuff, right? And I think this would be much clearer. By the way, what is the precedence with, here's bitwise. So there is AND, XOR, then OR. It's, yeah, in my opinion, they should have the same, that it's like from left to right and not like, because the problem is nobody remembers it and then it's like random implementation defined, or not really random and not really implementation defined, but because nobody knows or nobody remembers and nobody looks this table up each time they write some code, they always get some details wrong, and it's like, is this system, yeah, the bugs waiting to happen, yeah. Is it even, this should be, is it even, so that is, yeah, logical OR and, actually that is, what? Not size or, so that is 12 according to this table, if that even is a definite table, and bitwise end is 8, so yeah, that should be first, and I guess if, is it following table is the precedence of the activity of C operators listed to top to bottom in descending precedence. Yeah, descending, so yeah, that, yeah, but I would not recommend that. So I assume this is new, and I slightly wonder, so with my patch it builds, also a segmentation for it, because, yeah, called deadly signal, yeah, cheers. That comes from running Vim in a sandbox. So long story short, I think, by the way, what exactly is it even? Greg PR status, Greg said, yeah, no surprise that, wait a second, we have this also for x86 and other architectures. Add support for dynamically sized racks. Switching core dumps to rack set. Interesting stuff. Okay. Architecture that have rack sets. All architectures with FDPIC support do have that. Okay. So we need to rename that too. The question is, I also find it crazy that the strace people, maintainers and stuff, that with something as state of the art and upcoming and so on as RISC-V, that nobody has dedication and time and ambition and stuff to maintain that, right? Neither. I googled that the other month. I've not seen a new patch, so as far as I've seen, I might be the only one who constantly redifts this. I've not seen a new patch submitted to the strace people from Western Digital or stuff. Yeah. .c. What I will probably do, because I'm not feeling like creating, by the way, is here anything? How does it even work? Let's actually build this. The question if it just happens to accidentally also work for RISC32. It might be that this doesn't even build depending on how it does build. It might be that this file is not used potentially. And so the crazy thing is we also should test this, right? And it's like, yeah, another hour or two. Let's see. That's this build I knew because I updated this yesterday. So that is rec set. Does it even rec set C of? Okay, it has some generic rec set C, or does it include that in? Oh, wait a second. There was disable. Here's some disable though. Okay. What was it even? So does Git what we probably, what we theoretically, okay, let's do the first thing first, which is actually renaming this. So I could init and Git repository, because what we want is a patch, a modern Git improved patch that renames the file. I think I just hand edit that as we usually do here. Also Linux. Oops. RISCV32 and others are even two renames. By the way, what is in this file? Oh, this is just okay. UserX. You know what is crazy? Very theoretically, one probably could or should actually implement multi-personality barch stuff for RISC, so that one strace binary, I have the feeling this might not probably support running 32-bit on 64-bit RISC-V. So yeah, that what we do for that is let's by the way, like, save that there and strace. So what I simply do is manual edit that in there, rename of here's something like archdefs of not that, but here's something of that sort. As the reason is, for me, this is like faster, as crazy as it is, easier to copy and paste this here. And simply diff from that, let's hope the terminal copy that, so that would be the header. Also it did not copy that. Why should I trust some Apple software to copy that? So regset to RISC-V regset. And given that this might not have built previously, maybe the makefile is set up to check if the file exists and then build this based on file existence. So RISC-V, oops, and here as well, probably. Oops, wrong build. We want something like that. And yeah, let's see how much more work is required for that. I think I trust this build, so that would be that. Oops, why is that log? RISC, this is also the wrong. I think we looked up the wrong log file actually, because yeah, we built RISC-V. That also doesn't build. Rename, oh wait a second, I think I have there a typo. This is certainly why there is a chance that this is not built if you copy and rename the wrong file. That are of course the pitfalls of manually editing that. Do we have... by the way, here is actually arch... Wait a second, here is... Wait, this was supposed to rename arch pr status regset. Why did this... why did this... This is strange. We somehow lost this in rediffing, I guess, or something like that. Because this is the original Western Digital stuff here from Alistair Francis. That was actually in there. Why do we not have this in this patch anymore? Good that we review that. RISC-V64 HH. Here apparently. Did we even edit that correctly? So like that. So I guess we lost this in rediffing. Interesting. Didn't expect that. Let's SV unlock that and double check. Yeah, but this is sometimes only a year later you notice. Ported strace patch likewise. Wait, rec? Was it not rec set? Archrex, wait a second. I already, so this was indeed not in the original file. That is interesting. Okay, it was not in the very original then. Okay, we could, if we wanted to know where this was lost touch, we could SV and blame that. Isn't it amazing if you version your stuff? Also, we need, for that we need like revision, I think base. Rec set, so yeah, this is actually in a later revision. Let's okay, interesting. I actually added that. What was the updated strace? Maybe I've half done this something, so much to testing. Then I might have done this was it rec set, right? Rec set. Apparently I've done there half a job some time ago. Okay, this, wait a second, what does it say? Code signal? Apparently, okay, I've only done half a job there, but I've apparently forgotten the rename part. Good that we rectify that now. Let's see if the builds now. Yeah, and this is how, as an open source developer, day after day, you can work, and yeah, totally, very many appreciate this, which is totally amazing. Is that you tune in, share, like, and subscribe. That is building. So what we want to check for is that this actually compiles. So that is, by the way, should we, maybe I should actually grab whether some makefile references that build RISCV Radium strace rec set. Okay, this built already. Renamed. Okay, this built now. Rec set. Disable rec set. I don't instantly see this file in the log though. Good, then let's further test that. Let's first double check this was 16, right? Yeah, Doxys, Vodafone Doxys, it's still, yeah, previous video, right? This is the outstanding 50 Mbit upstream of Vodafone Doxys. Can't make this stuff up. Better, if you have such an 56K like V90 modem, analog modem line, then you probably don't want to tar with verbose, and obviously no verbose for you. That's old school. Yep. So strace and so, yeah, let's all of those Linux RISC-V. This is rec set stuff, and let's grab if we find this in some make files or okay, this is actually okay, they are sharing quite some rec set things there also. Changelog, makefile. Okay, it is only in this source makefile. what do they do with that? So that is extra dist. Okay, extra dist we don't really want though. That is, how does it work, or does it? Is this all an extra dist or extra dist? Nah. Always a joy to find out how their build system work. Linux generic arch PR status reset. Okay, that does not do much. So this is Emperor stuff, this multiple personality stuff that I meant. That probably could be implemented for RISC-V, and I guess is not. So yeah, that is a little bit, how does it work here that this is used? PR status. Crazy stuff. Okay, let's maybe as a test, let's move that. And see if it is then in the log file. Just as a test whether the plain vanilla upstream version has it in the log when it builds. It could be that it's simply not in the log because they include it from some other file. Yeah, configure. Hello, configure. Waiting for data. Ah, there we go. PR status. Interesting. It's also not in the log file. RECZC, so maybe is it possible that it's in the RECZC? Here, it's including that, so arch. So maybe it works based on include order, that they simply define dash capital I include directory architecture like RISC-V. And yeah, this is why we don't have this in the log, I assume. We could further, I mean, beside testing this on QEMU or real hardware, and so this patch previously, yeah, so our previous patch had that obviously broken. We could further test that. I just want to, by the way, did we build this already for, probably not. Let's build it for RISC-V 32-bit and see if it breaks or accidentally just works. And then I just want to double check that it's really used when we already spent all the time and efforts here. Abort. Okay, so far, fingers crossed, that still builds. Yeah, I should send this upstream after so many hours, like each version, 6 versions or so, each time 10 minutes, like plus some surrounding and this here. It's probably, the problem I always have is you send this stuff, like the Western Digital, right? The Western Digital people implemented this maybe for their SSDs or wherever Western Digital so is using RISC-V in their microcontroller stuff, and it's not getting merged, right? I mean, the Western Digital people probably could not care less. But for me, the extra time, maybe they get paid and stuff, and that their work is done, and they try to send it upstream, and they're like, yeah, YOLO, whatever. But for me, like spending another 30 or 60 hours, minutes, plus it's not only the email, right, and sugar coating this and advertising it to them, like, hey, please apply this stuff, which they previously already have not done. But I should also run the test suite, right? So this means getting out the board and stuff, and running the test suite and see what we get, and then potentially spending even more hours if something fails. So strace, what I wanted to do is we have an FL wrapper read log, and let's see, do we have, what was it? It was a rec set. Also, maybe we filter out, apparently we might actually, I think for performance reasons, I once actually, but we could, I think I once, like 15 years ago, benchmarked, like even on an 800 megahertz iBook at the time or so, building with the T2 sandbox stuff, and I found actually the F-list tracking stuff consuming quite significant amount of time, like maybe 20% or something, or at least like 10 to 20 or something, and especially for big packages. So I think I remember I optimized that to filter out like source tree stuff. So like if it starts with source tree stuff, then don't even bother to further checking that and not writing it to the log file. I think even the log file became, I think once I blew past 2 gigabyte, I remember 15 years or so, something like that, I even had to implement large file support because building OpenOffice like created a file access log that was larger than large file stuff, which was it 2 or 4 gigabyte or whatever large file stuff was. I forgot, maybe 2 gigabyte. Anyway, so yeah, now we have large, and then I benchmarked that, and even the post-processing, right, because we grab and stuff, post-process stuff, so I think even the post-processing run like quite some minutes, obviously on an 800 megahertz iBook back in the day. It's like, yeah, crazy times. So strace, so what we can, however, do is we can build all the stuff in strace. That is, of course, everyone can do that. And so that would be strace follow or log. And then we should have in the log the most easy, and everyone can do that without a fancy sandbox at home, to check whether the file actually was sourced. We could also object dump the executable and check whether the file is in there or similar such stuff. We could also, as per usual, there are just some creative, like that you learn something. We could also run make and copy this invocation of this whatever rec set this was, and run it with gcc-e also to see the pre-processed sources. So this was like rec set something. Let's hope that is. Let's hope that, yeah, also we have a lot of continued unfinished. This is always a pain to follow. Actually, we have now the problem that this is relative to the current working directory. So that is actually, but here we have actually Linux RISC-V Arch PR status C. So I thought already we don't see this because relative files, but yeah, I would call that probably properly used. So far so good. Let's remove. If you want to test it more, be my guest, test it more, but for me this is good enough now. Oops, also let's see what do we do here. And we could, what we also theoretically should do, if we want to send it upstream, I should probably check with Git that we remove this otherwise empty directory there. This could also be like why patches are not applied, right? If the maintainer says it's not clean enough, there is some stray directory, because we still have that here that is probably empty now, except the original file things. I probably should check another day, so it's not important today if we want to send it upstream. Anyway, we have also fixed that. That is strace, and updated strace RISCV or updated, so further, how do you call this, further improved, fixed, updated, the art of writing commit messages, or fixed. I mean, it built previously, so is it implement or maybe like this, improved strace RISCV32. Actually, we could make this here even better. That is a valid file name to also rename, and this fix RHPs. This is regset. Yeah. Welcome everyone. We are basically mostly, so the cool thing is, since I use proper thumbnails, we have way more people to tune in. I really love that. Sending it upstream could save you time we could use for writing a microkernel. Yeah, exactly. Our recurring dream here. Cheers. Yeah, I probably should do that. So yeah, super amazing that so many people tune in. I should probably continue to produce quality content like this. I hope you learned something. That is basically another day. It's crazy that so many people tune in. I'm shocked myself. Yeah, if you tune in now, we are basically done. You can rewind that or have 1,000 other videos in the archive to watch. Otherwise, I hope you learned something, and don't forget to share and subscribe to even more of this amazing stuff to come.